Business Book Summaries. Hello there. Today I'll be talking about a book titled The Almanack of Naval Ravikant, which is also known as a guide to wealth and happiness. Now, we all might think that a single book containing just over 100,000 words can make us both wealthy and happy. It might sound a bit unrealistic, but there's a special reason why I think this book is worth exploring. The author of this book is Naval Ravikant. Who is he? Well, he's an angel investor and entrepreneur from Silicon Valley. He was born in 1974, which might not seem very old, but in the tech hub of Silicon Valley, he's quite important. He's invested in many companies, like Twitter and Uber, that we all know. And beyond that, he started many of his own ventures, big and small. So, he really embodies the idea of success. However, once you read the book, you might find that despite all his success in business, that's not the main focus. So what's the main point of the book? It's about exploring Naval's other sides. Firstly, Naval loves to read and has read a lot of books. He has a unique way of looking at reading and learning. He stays away from popular books, doesn't follow book clubs, and doesn't care about impressing others. He also says that the number of books you read doesn't matter. What's important is understanding new ideas that match the changing world. Instead of counting how many books you've read, it's better to concentrate on valuable ideas that reflect current trends. And how do you know if you truly understand something? Naval's rule is simple. Explain it in a way that a child can understand. If a child gets it, then you've really got a hold of the concept. Secondly, Naval has some really wise thoughts about life itself. For example, when people talk about retirement, Naval believes that retirement isn't tied to a specific age. Real retirement is when you stop giving up your present for a future that's only in your imagination. When you can fully live in the present moment, that's when you've really grasped the idea of retirement. Similarly, when asked how much money is enough, Naval's advice is that you have enough money when you feel you can let go of greed. To better understand how to detach, it's not just about having strong determination. It involves setting clear boundaries for yourself. No matter how much you earn, resist the urge to constantly upgrade your possessions. Having enough for your basic needs should be sufficient. When asked about what makes up a strong resume, Naval believes it's not about where you went to school or worked. A true resume is a collection of the challenges you've faced and conquered. As you can see, Naval truly grasps the core of life. At this point, many might be eager to jot down these insights, thinking about how perfectly they could fit into their presentations. In reality, many people have already done so. This leads us to another aspect of Naval's personality. He's a social media sensation known for his memorable insights. If you've been to various talks or presentations, you might notice that young people often include quotes from a few well-known figures like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Steve Jobs, Larry Page, and of course Naval. From this perspective, I'd say that even just for these valuable pieces of wisdom, the book is worth spending at least half an hour on. Especially if you feel like you've exhausted quotes from other famous individuals. Naval's words provide a refreshing perspective. As mentioned earlier, the book doesn't have a central theme. It's mostly a collection of Naval's personal thoughts and reflections. Trying to forcefully impose a structure on it would take away from its original essence. So, our next step is to explore some of the most intriguing insights based on how they resonate. I should note that reading this book is truly enjoyable. If you find this summary interesting, I highly recommend harnessing that excitement and delving into the full text. As we navigate through the book, it initially feels like a compilation of life's important lessons. Each statement, when taken on its own, holds the weight of a famous quote. To draw a somewhat odd comparison, many of these quotes seem like words that could summarize an entire lifetime. And the range of topics is vast, covering thoughts about wealth, life, happiness, and more. It's almost like all the crucial questions about life that deeply matter to us, the core of life. A variety of insights have found their home within these pages. Although it might appear a bit scattered when you finish the book, a vague feeling starts to emerge. No matter how you interpret it, the core message becomes clear. The book subtly conveys a deep truth about life itself. Life's nature allows for a different perspective. If we were to sum it up simply, life's core isn't just about adding things up, it's about multiplying. What does that mean? In the past, we often saw life as an addition problem. Like, if I do something today and a bit more tomorrow, I keep gathering memories and value for my life. Isn't that all about adding up? However, Naval sees it differently. To him, life is more like multiplication. Every small action we take now doesn't just add up, it multiplies. It's like a math problem where a small number gets multiplied by a big number, making the overall result grow really fast. This might remind you of investing, right? Exactly. Naval approaches life with the mindset of an investor. Investors get this idea well. In the world of investing, making even just one small correct decision can bring back incredible results. The book talks about this, mentioning that someone making decisions with an 80% accuracy rate compared to someone with a 70% accuracy rate might sound like a small 10% difference. But the returns for the former can be hundreds of times greater than the latter. This principle isn't just about investing, it applies to many parts of our lives. Why does this work? Well, the truth of the world is that it's structured in layers of connected networks. In each layer, the resources you interact with vary. So, every time you improve your skills, you enter a higher level network. This gives you access to better resources. If this sounds a bit complicated, let's use a specific example to explain. Imagine you're a watchmaker. With your current skills, you might make gears with average precision and get average orders. Harnessing the magic of small efforts. Sometimes, we find ourselves pondering how to achieve big things. Usually, we think this requires huge amounts of effort, unwavering determination, and grabbing significant opportunities that come our way. When we're faced with such massive tasks, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, which often leads to procrastination or simply doing nothing at all. But Naval emphasizes that we shouldn't disregard those seemingly small tasks right in front of us. If we're willing to put in just a bit more effort than the next person, the rewards in life can grow exponentially. This means you get more value out of the same effort. There's a concept known as the mediocrity dividend that gained popularity a while back. What does it mean? When others are being lazy, taking shortcuts, or doing things half-heartedly, simply being diligent and thorough can bring about huge rewards. Let me share a story with you about the diamond industry. We've all heard the slogan, "A diamond is forever." The company behind this phrase is De Beers, a big player in the diamond industry since 1888. But in recent years, a new player emerged, Lucara. This company shook up the diamond world by unearthing the world's second, third, and fourth largest raw diamonds, all found after 2015. To give you some perspective, the last time the world's largest diamond was found was in 1905, 110 years before these discoveries. How did a relatively new company achieve such incredible feats in such a short time? How did they find larger diamonds that others had missed? Many might think they had access to superior mines or resources, but that's not the case. Their success came from a small change. They used a new excavation tool. Other diamond companies used tools that risked damaging larger diamonds. Lucara made minor improvements to their tools, reducing the chances of causing damage just a bit. It wasn't a huge change, but this small edge led them to discover 3 massive diamonds, securing their position in the diamond industry. Speaking of multiplying effects, the magic of compounding. Let's talk about another concept that investors like Naval really value, compound interest. In his book, Naval emphasizes how important it is to understand the power of compounding. Now, if you know a bit about finances, you might recognize the significance of this. But even if you're not a finance expert, don't worry, I'll break it down. Imagine you invest $10 with a yearly return of 10%. At the end of the first year, you'll have $11. In the second year, it becomes $12, 10 cents, and by the third year, it's $13.30. These might not seem like huge numbers, right? But consider this. If you have a 30% compound interest rate over 30 years, your returns won't just be 10 or 20 times your initial investment. They'll multiply thousands of times, ending up as over $26,000. Quite a significant difference, isn't it? From Naval's viewpoint, not only wealth, but nearly all rewards in life come from compounding. It's like a snowball effect that applies to relationships, health, habits, and more. Think about a company with 100 customers. If it grows by 20% every month, it won't be long before it has millions of users. Or take the example of building a skill by practicing it a bit every day. Even dedicating just 10 to 20 minutes daily can turn that skill into something impressive. Maintaining this positive rate of growth can lead to incredible results. Let's do a quick calculation. If you improve by just 1% every day, raising 1.1 to the power of 365 days in a year gives you the overall progress in a year. The answer is about 37.8 times. In simpler terms, a tiny extra effort sustained over time can bring back much bigger results than you might think. It's like the saying goes, don't underestimate the power of small, consistent efforts. Building on this idea, Naval stresses an important point. Since life works on multiplication and compound interest, having a solid understanding of basic math is really crucial. According to Naval, almost all successful individuals have a strong grasp of fundamental math concepts. While subjects like geometry and calculus might not be necessary for everyone, understanding algorithms, probability, and statistics is essential. Mastery in these areas sharpens your ability to work with numbers, compound interest, and multiplier effects. Continuing on the topic of multiplication, as we mentioned earlier, one of the most impactful things Naval shares is that life isn't just about adding things up, unleashing the power of small steps. We often forget that even the tiniest efforts can lead to enormous results through the magic of multiplier effects. So don't ever think that your small actions only move you a little bit forward. Instead, each effort you make opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for you. Imagine life as a series of hidden doors. Every step you take unlocks one of these doors, revealing a whole new world. This means you should never become too comfortable, never give up, and definitely never underestimate the strength of those small, consistent efforts. This is the primary lesson this book offers. Life works through multiplication. The joys of reading and learning. Moving on, let's explore more insights from the book. Apart from his deep understanding of life and business, Naval is a shining example of a lifelong learner and an enthusiastic reader. Reading and learning are his passions, so let's dive into his thoughts on these topics. Naval once shared that reading is his first love. He believes that reading is the most effective way to build a strong mental framework. Given the importance of reading, how should one go about selecting, reading, and understanding books? Let's tackle these questions. Firstly, Naval thinks that reading should be a personal journey, not a race against others. Racing to finish books faster than anyone else is pointless. In fact, Naval suggests that the better the book, the slower you should read it. The goal is to truly absorb the content. The number of books you've read doesn't matter. What counts is the depth of your understanding. Don't read to show off to others. Read to expand your own intellectual universe. Reading enhances your thinking abilities and shapes your unique perspective of the world. Therefore, Naval advises against focusing on how many books you've read. He encourages embracing repetition. For example, if you start reading a book and realize halfway through that you've read it before, don't be quick to drop it and move on. Naval suggests sticking with it. Unlocking the power of familiarity. If a book gives you a feeling of déjà vu, it means your mind is ready for another reading. Stick with it. Trust your instincts and follow your reading path. So, when you're faced with many options, how do you choose the right books? Naval has a solid suggestion. Start with the classics. These include works in math, science, and philosophy. The mention of math might make some people uneasy, but it's really important. Math sharpens our thinking, making it more precise. Plus, in a world driven by data, understanding math helps us avoid being fooled by false information, enabling us to make better judgments. Apart from highlighting the significance of mathematics, Naval recommends reading classic works. If you're interested in evolution, begin with Darwin. For macroeconomics, Adam Smith is a great start. In short, kick off your reading journey with foundational works. Why? Naval explains that the benefits of reading aren't equally spread out. The order in which you read has a profound impact on your thinking. The classics and excellent books you encounter early on form a strong base for your entire knowledge structure. They ensure that as you gain more knowledge, you have a sturdy foundation to build upon. In simpler terms, your initial reading experiences shape the basic framework of your intellectual system. The books you read first influence your initial thought processes, and once these are established, they're tough to change. So, how should you approach reading from the beginning? Start with the best timeless sources in various fields, those that have stood up to the test of time and scrutiny. Don't dive straight into trendy new books. Instead, build a solid foundation of knowledge by immersing yourself in these tried and true classics. To sum it up, when choosing books, prioritize those that have stood the test of time. The books you read early on tend to have a lasting impact on your thinking. Shaping your reading journey. The way your first books impact your thinking is quite significant. It's similar to how early romantic relationships can influence your perspective on love. Just as your first love often shapes your views on romance, the initial books you read can shape how you approach reading, thinking, and knowledge. Now, after talking about picking the right books, let's dive into the specifics of how to read. Naval's approach to reading can be summed up like this. The goal isn't to build walls around yourself, but to find paths. What does this mean? Many people treat books with too much seriousness. They think every sentence is super important and feel like they have to understand every complex page completely. Naval sees this as creating barriers for yourself. Shouldn't reading be about finding a way forward rather than building walls? If you don't get a book, put it aside and try another one. Trust your instincts and read what genuinely interests you. Think of it like exploring a forest of knowledge. Instead of trying to knock down every tree in your way, find different paths around them. This way, reading becomes a delightful journey that shapes the foundation of your thoughts and knowledge. In short, don't struggle with a book. Reading isn't a chore, it's something enjoyable. Don't fight your feelings, make reading a pleasurable experience. Remember, reading isn't about building obstacles, it's about discovering pathways. As you navigate these pathways, you'll uncover new worlds that are uniquely yours. Now that we've talked about picking books and reading approaches, let's set a standard. How do you know when you truly understand a book? Naval provides a simple rule. Can you explain the book to a child? If they get it, then you've really grasped the material. Understanding the wisdom of children. Children embody values that are universally important, and they represent the simplest form of knowledge. When a child understands something, it means you've captured the most universally valuable content of a book. But beyond specific methods, what truly matters is the desire to read. Naval stresses the significance of reading, highlighting that the difference between individuals isn't solely about being educated or not. It's about those who find joy in reading and those who don't. To Naval, this showcases how essential reading is for a fulfilling life. This book is filled with many valuable insights about reading, learning, and life. If you're curious about Naval or are looking for insightful quotes, I highly recommend exploring the original work. It's an easy read, perfect for your commutes or leisure time. With that, we've covered the main content of the book. After finishing it, there's a strong feeling that lingers. It challenges us to rethink what true intelligence really means. If you found this video helpful, consider purchasing the book through the link in the description. If you have any feedback, or would like us to summarize another book, feel free to let us know. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.